Okay, so let's talk about CBA 9. For this first question, okay, it's important when we're trying to find out whether or not three sides can be a triangle that the sum of any two sides must be greater than the third side. Okay, so here, question 1 says, which set of sides cannot be? So we're just going to compare our sides and see which set of triangles has at least one side that doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, then that can't be a triangle. So a good trick here is to circle your largest number as a number to start your comparisons with, okay? So let's do it. Here I have 10 plus 11. It's going to give me 21. And 21 is greater than 12. So far, we have a side that's going to be a triangle, okay? Now, if all three sides work, then we're good. If not all three sides work, then unfortunately, that can't be a triangle. So, let's try these other two sides. We're going to do 10 plus 12. That's going to give me 22. 22 is greater than 11, so that's still a triangle. We'll do 11 plus 12. That's going to give us 23. 23 is greater than 10. So we know that these three sides will ultimately make a triangle. We're looking for which three sides won't make a triangle. So that's not going to work. Here we go. 3 plus 4. That's going to give us 7. 7 is greater than 5. So far we have a triangle. Let's do 3 plus 5. It's going to give us 8. 8 is greater than 4. So that's also going to give us a triangle. And then we'll do 4 plus 5, which is 9. 9 is going to be greater than 3. So answer choice B also gives us a triangle. We need three sides that don't give us a triangle. So B can't work. All right. 7 plus 8 is going to give us 15. Well, here we go. 15 is not greater than 16. And all we need is one side not to work. So because that side doesn't work, C is our answer. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2 isn't so bad. Finding the missing side of the triangle. Okay. So here we're saying that this is a map. The map shows the distance in air miles from city A to both city B and C. So from city A to city B, it's 11 miles. From city A to city C, it's 29 miles. We don't know the distance between city B and city C. So when this happens, you just get these two numbers. You're going to subtract them. Then you're going to add them. And when you subtract them, you find like your lowest, smallest number. When you add them, you find your largest number. And the cities B and C have to be somewhere in between, okay? So let's go ahead and do it. That way it makes more sense. We're going to do 29 minus 11. That's going to give us 8 and 1. So we know that whatever the distance between B and C is has to be greater than 18, okay? Now let's subtract. We'll do 29 minus, we'll add. My bad. It's going to give us 10. That's going to give us 4. So now we know that the longest distance we have has to be less than 40 miles. Then we look at our question, which of the following can be the distance between city B and city C in air miles? Well, it can't be J because 42 is greater than 40. Can't be H because 41 is greater than 40. It can't be 40 because 40 is equal to 40. We're looking for a number that is less than 40. So our only answer choice here is 39 miles. And that statement makes sense. 39 is greater than 18, but is also less than 40. All right, let's keep going. Okay, when we're talking about, let's see, question 3. It says Brian has a rectangular yard, which has an area of a square feet. Okay, so it's a rectangular yard. That's important. And it has an area of a square feet. it's telling me that the length of the yard is 18 feet, which equation represents W, the width. Okay, fine. Not a big deal. When I'm talking about area of a rectangle, its area is equal to base times height. Okay? So in this case, they're telling us that our area is A. Base times height, or length times width. So they're telling us our length, I'll say or area is equal to length times width, whatever, that's fine. So they're telling us that our length is 18 feet, okay? And then we don't know what our width is. So area is equal to 18 times W. Okay. So if you look at our answer choices, none of them match. And that's fine. So now, if we were to look at this here and see it as a one-step equation, meaning W is our variable, we'd have to find what our width is, right? That's what they're telling us to find, which equation represents W, the width. Well, then all we do here is the inverse operation. Okay, if this is 18 times W, so together it's 18W, then the inverse operation, the opposite operation of that would be to divide. And when we divide, we actually create something here. We create area divided by 18 is equal to W. Now, we do see something pretty applicable to that, and that's going to be our answer choice D. The only difference is that the equal sign and the W is on this side, but realistically, it doesn't matter what side it's on, okay? It's so long as we have our area divided by 18, and here we have our area divided by 18. Okay? All right. Question 4. Here we go. Very similar. Brendan has a rectangular yard, and we're using length times width here. Okay, the length of the yard is 26, and the width is W feet. So because I have space here, I'm actually going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. Nothing crazy, nothing bad. And here we're going to use this formula is equal to length times width, which is fine. It says it has an area of A square feet. So let me plug in my area. They're saying my area is A. Okay. Then they're saying the length is 26 feet. Okay. And then they're saying here the width is W feet, which equation represents A, the area of Brendan's yard, in square feet. So, times W, okay? So again, we do actually see an equation that represents what we just constructed, and this equation happens to be answer choice G right here, okay? All right, next page. Okay. So this question's a good one as well. It says, Mrs. Lang asked the class to find the area of an isosceles trapezoid. Sonia decomposed the trapezoid and rearranged the parts to form a rectangle of equal area. This is actually really important, equal area. That means the shape started like this. Sonia decomposed, she broke it apart, broke it down, and she rearranged it so that it looks like this, okay? But the area is exactly the same. Now, biggest thing to do here is, because the heights stay the same, that's fine. The only difference, though, is our base lengths here. When you run into a problem like this, I want you to bring this number over and add them together. So now we have our 10 times our 15, and then we know it's going to end up being inches squared because we're solving for area, and the only answer choice that matches that is going to be answer choice D right here. All right. Now, going to question 6, okay? we see here that it says Raj. All right, so somebody named Raj. Not a problem. Raj is planting ivy as a ground cover. The portion of his yard to be planted in ivy is shaped like a trapezoid and is shown in the sketch below. Raj does not know how to find the area of a trapezoid. Which equation could be used to determine the area of his yard? A, that will be planted in ivy. Okay, so we've talked about this before, okay? An area, or a trapezoid rather, is nothing but a rectangle and one or two triangles attached to it. In this case, one, okay? So this person, Raj, doesn't know how to use the area of a trapezoid formula, which is fine. So we're going to do the area of the rectangle and then the area of the triangle, okay? So let's do it. Area of a rectangle. Again, you can do length times width or base times height. Here I'm going to use base times height, okay? My base here is 20 because that only accounts for the rectangle, okay? So area is equal to 20. We're going to say times my height here is also 20. Now, I don't have to solve it. I'm just going to leave it like that. The formula for area of a triangle is area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. The area of a triangle is half the area of a rectangle. So let's see if I can plug in these numbers. I have my 1/2. Now the base of my triangle in this particular case is the difference between this entire bottom base and this top base. So if this bottom base is 25 feet and this top base is 20 feet, then the difference here is 5 feet. So times 5 times the height stays the same. Okay, the height stays the same. So times 20. Now you're going to notice that our answer choices don't really match anything on this side. And that's fair. Another way you can see this formula is area is equal to base times height divided by 2. So now if we plug in our values, we can say that area is equal to base, which is 5, times height, which is 20, divided by that 2. So now we have part 1, we have part 2. We would combine these two areas together, and the only answer choice that makes sense to choose here would be H, okay? The area of your rectangle plus the area of your triangle, okay? There is an actual formula for area of a trapezoid, but we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, next page. Okay, so there is there's a couple of formulas here that you can use for volume, okay? Probably what's going to be the easiest formula to use, okay, and I highly recommend this formula, is that volume is equal to length times width times height. There is another formula where volume is equal to area of the base times height. And in order to find area of the base is length times width, okay? This one's going to be the easiest because it's just side times side times side, okay? So that's all we're going to do here. It says, which of the following rectangular prism-shaped fish tanks holds a minimum amount of water? So let's get to it. All right. I'm really just going to do length times width times height. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 times 8 is going to be, let's do it, 40, carry the 4, 16, 200. Okay, so that's 200, 200 inches cubed. All right, C. Length times width, that's 120. 120 times 2 is going to give you 240 inches cubed. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 7. 2, carry the 4, 21, 24, 25. So that's going to be 252 inches cubed. And then here we have, 4 times 2, which is 8, 20. Sorry, so that you guys can see it. 4 times 2, which is 8. 20 times 8 is going to be 160 inches cubed. So when they say they're looking for the minimum volume, right, the least amount of volume, our answer choice here is D. Okay, for number 8, okay, a parallelogram. That's really what we're working with here. Let's read it. It says the rectangle is cut along the dashed line and the small piece is moved to create a parallelogram. Which of the following can be used to find the area of a parallelogram? So a parallelogram is literally, as you can see, just a regular rectangle that at some point was shifted. So here they're saying that this rectangle was shifted and this rectangle was shifted, or this side rather. But if they're both shifted by the same amount of space, they're both shifted by 2 feet, then the dimensions stay the same. So for this one in particular, okay, area of a parallelogram is going to use the same formula for area of a rectangle. So you can use area is equal to base times height, and I'll say or area is equal to length times width. Okay, it's up to you, whichever one you want to use. Now, for us, let's do this. Okay, so it says 8 times 16. Okay, well, our base technically actually is 16 times 8 length, which is still 16 times 8. Okay, so our only answer choice that makes sense is going to be F. Yes, we don't have feet squared, but we know that when we're solving for area, our answer is always squared. So simple, easy peasy. Okay, parallelogram is just a rectangle that's been tipped over, shifted over, pushed over, but the dimensions stay the same. All right. Number 9. Okay, number 9 is actually pretty simple. A 6th grade art students are making a mosaic using tiles in the shape of a right triangle, or right triangles. Mosaic's just an type of art piece that uses smaller pieces, okay? It says each tile has leg measures of 7 centimeters and 4 centimeters. If there are 84 tiles in the mosaic, what is the area of the mosaic? Okay, so area of a triangle here. Area is equal to 1/2 times base times height, or area is equal to base times height divided by 2. Okay, however you want to do it. In this case, they're telling me it's a right triangle, so I'm just going to draw a right triangle. That way I know I have something visual to look at. Now, they're saying the leg measures is 7 centimeters and 4 centimeters. Okay. Well, I'll plug in my values. I'll do this one here, okay? Area equals 1/2. I'm going to use my base here, which is 7 times 7, and I'll use my height here, which is 4. Now, when you multiply, you don't necessarily have to multiply in order. So it's easier for me to half 4 than it is to half 7. So half of 4 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. So the area for each of these triangles is going to be 14 centimeters squared. Now, they're going to use 84 of these tiles. So now I have to multiply 84 times 14. That way we know how much area is needed for every single one of these tiles. So that's going to be 16, carry the 1. That's going to be 32 plus 1 is 33. 0 down, cross that out, scratch that out. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 8 is 8. Add your partial products, you get 6, 7, and 11. So the total area here is actually 1,176 centimeters squared. All right. Number 10. Tina wants to paint a rectangular shaped wall with a height of 47 inches and a width of 44 inches. So since I have a little bit of space here, I'm going to draw a little rectangular wall. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. Has a height of 45 inches and a width of 44 inches. I know that my formula for this should be area is equal to base times width, or area is equal to length times, or base times height, or area is equal to length times width. I'm going to use this formula, and then I'm going to plug in my values, which is 45 times 44. So let's go ahead and do it. 4 times 5 is 20. Put the 0 down, carry the 2. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 plus 2 is 18. 0. Cross that out, scratch that out. 4 times 5 is 20. Put a 0 down, carry the 2. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 plus 2 is 18. And then you add your partial products, you get 0, 8, 9, and 1. So the area for this rectangular wall is 1,980 inches squared. So it's really not that bad. Just plug in some stuff and you're good to go. All right, same thing here. Instead of Tina, it's Terry. She wants to paint a rectangular shaped wall, a height of 56 inches. Here, though, they're saying the area of the wall is 2,632 inches squared. They want to know what is the width. Okay, that's fine. Area equals base times height. Okay, that's fine. They want to know what the width is, but they tell us the height. All right, cool. And they tell us the area. So base is going to be our width. That's fine. Okay, let's do it. We're going to plug in our values, okay? I mean, I like a picture, so sorry. This is what I'm going to do. We don't know what our height is, but we know our base is going... Oh, no, our height. Our height is 56 inches. Sorry about that. So our height is 56 inches. We don't know what our base is, what our width is, right? So that's fine. That's what we're looking for. But they tell us our area. So the area they tell us is 2,632. Perfect. They don't know what our base is, but they tell us what our height is. So basically 56 times W, which is going to be 56W. Then we perform inverse operation to isolate the variable here. So once we do that, we divide both sides by 56. All right, let's keep going. We'll do it down here since we have some space. We have 2,632 divided by 56. If I make a list and skip count by 56s, or skip count by 56, this is what I should get. 56, 112, 168, 224, 280, 336, and then we'll stop at 392. Sorry about that. So 56 fits inside of 263 4 times. Okay. That's going to give me 224. Now I can't take 4 from 3. So I have to go over to my 6 and borrow. That's now a 5. And my 3 is now a 13. 13 minus 4 is going to give me that 9. And 5 minus 2 is going to give me that 3. I'm going to bring this 2 down. And 56 goes into 392 evenly 7 times. So the width for this triangle here was 47, or this rectangle rather, was 47 inches. I'm not squaring it because I'm not solving for area. Okay, I only square it if I'm solving for area. If I'm solving for a missing side, I do not have to square it. Okay, now number 12. This is where we're using the triangle sum theorem. Okay, angle 1, which is 42, plus angle 2, which is 33, plus angle 3, which in this case is x, is going to always be equal to 180 degrees. So now we just solve, and so we add and then subtract that from 180. 3 times 2 is 5. 3 times 4 is 7. So we have 75 here, plus x equals 180. We're going to subtract that 75 from both sides. And what we end up with is x equals 7, 10, 5, 0, 1. So x is equal to 105 degrees. That was our missing angle. Okay. 13 is basically the same. Okay. Same thing. Okay. Triangle sum theorem. Angle 1, which is 43, plus angle 2, which is 49, plus angle 3, which in this case is x, is equal to 180 degrees. So when I add this together, 9 plus 3 is 12. Put the 2 down, carry the 1. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. So we get 92 plus x is equal to 180 degrees. Subtract 92 from both sides. Subtract 92 from both sides. It's a 7. That's a 10. That's a 1. And that is... Am I doing this right? Oh, no, I switched it. That's funny. Sorry. My bad. I switched it. Should have been 92, not 29. Silly me. Okay. 92, right? Minus 92. Yeah, so that's an 8. Whew, caught that mistake. Can't do that. There you go. 17 minus 9 is also 8. So our missing angle here was 88 degrees. Sorry about that little mix-up. So there we go. Number 14. Let's keep going. We're almost there. Okay, this is a good one here. So it says triangle ABC as angle measures shown below. Use the relationship between the sides and angle of triangle ABC to list sides AB, BC, and CA in order from shortest side to longest side. Explain your answer. So the rule here is your smallest angle is always going to be opposite your smallest side. So as far as shortest side is concerned, that's going to be side AB. AB. Your longest or your largest angle, which in this case is 80 degrees, is always going to be opposite the longest side. So the longest side here is going to be BC. All right. So what's going to be in the middle? Our only other side, CA. CA. Super simple. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We're doing great. Let's keep on keeping on. Number 15. Okay, number 15 says the diagram shows the shape of a window in an attic. The base of the window is 10 feet and the height is 15 feet. What's the area of the window? Okay, area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. Okay, let's rewrite it. Area is equal to 1/2. We'll plug in our values. This time our base is 10. Our height is 15. Half of 10 is 5. So now it's just 5 times 15, and we can solve that easily. 15 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Put the 5 down, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So our area here is 75 feet squared. Okay, next page. Okay, more of the same stuff. Let's go ahead and knock it out. Area is equal to 1/2 times base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Let me fill out the rest. Area is equal to 1/2. My base is 8. My height is 9. Half of 8 is 4. So 4 times 9, my area is going to give me 36 feet squared. Simple. Okay, remember area of a parallelogram is exactly the same thing as area of a rectangle. It's just a rectangle that's been slightly tilted over. So area is equal to length times width or base times height. I'm going to use this formula here. My base is 4. My height is 11. 4 times 11 is 44 centimeters squared. Simple. Same thing. Area is equal to base times height. It's a parallelogram, so it's super simple. My base here is 18, and my height here is 6.5. So let's do it. I'm going to multiply it as if it's not 6.5, as if it's 65, and then we'll swing the decimal back over at the end. Sorry, not 16. 65, my bad. Times 18, let's do it. 8 times 5 is 40. Put the 0 down, carry the 4. 4 times 6 is 48, and 48 plus 4 is 52. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. Add my partial products. I get 0, 7, and 11. So area here is 1,000. Oh, no. Sorry. Swing that decimal back over. My bad. Sorry about that. So my area here is 117 feet squared. All right. Almost there. Okay, this one, remember earlier I said there was going to be a formula for area of a trapezoid. Here we go. Area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times half, okay? Now, base 1 is going to be 4. Remember earlier I said this trapezoid is just a rectangle with 1. In this case, we have 2 triangles attached to it. So, here, I see that my base is 4 because opposite sides are congruent. My height is also 6 because, again, opposite sides are congruent. My second base is going to be all of these numbers added up. Let's get to it. Area equals 1/2 times my base 1 is 4 plus my base 2 is 8. And my height is going to be 6. Cool. So if I'm continuing to write it, now I have half of 12 times 6. I'm going to continue to write it. Half of 12 is 6, so now I just have 6 times 6, and 6 times 6 is going to give me 36 centimeters squared. So it's not that bad. It's pretty simple. You just got to know the formula. Okay, here we go. Number 20. Number 20 says the trapezoid below, blah, 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 blah. What is the area of the trapezoid? Okay. Area is equal to 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times your height. Okay. Keep our 1/2. Base 1 is 10. Base 2 is 20. And our height is 15. All right, let's keep going. 1/2 times 30 times 15. Okay, half of 30 is 15. So now we have 15 times 15. And that's not hard. We'll do that as well. 15 times 15. 25, carry the 2. Sorry about that. And that's going to be 7, 0. Cross that out. Cross that out. That'll be 5. That'll be 1. Add your partial products. We get 5, 2, carry the 1, and that's 2. So our area here is going to be 225 centimeters squared. So not so bad. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Okay, Gerald creates a kite to fly in the park. He decides to make the kite by attaching 2 congruent. So that's actually kind of important right there, by attaching 2 congruent triangles at their bases, okay? Congruent means equal, so we'll talk about that once we get there. So the pattern he's using for constructing one of the congruent triangles is shown below. Write and solve for the area. All right, cool. So obviously we're going to have area is equal to 1/2 times base times height. Now, when they're saying he's connecting these triangles that are congruent at the bases, that means that these are literally being conjoined. They're connected, okay? So instead of it being times 5, our values that we're going to be plugging in is really going to be times 10, okay? So area is equal to 1/2 times our base, again, which is 10. And honestly, if he's attaching these, then our height is really not 12. It's 12 at plus 12, which in this case is 24. All right, let's keep going. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 24. Let's do it. 20, 2, 10. So 120 feet squared for combining these two kites. All right. Okay. We're only going to do 3 of these because the last one is, you're not going to see a question like that on your CBA, so it's going to be fine. Again, here, the formula we can use here is that volume is equal to length times width times height. You can also use volume is equal to area of the base times height, but it's easier just to do it this way. So let's do it. We have 5 times 8.2, so 8.2 is really 82 times 5, and we'll swing the decimal back over at the end. It's going to give us 10, 41. Swing the decimal back over. So now we have 40, sorry, on a odd spot here. 41 times our height, which in this case is 14. Okay. That's 4, that's 16, that's 1, and that's 4. We'll add our partial products. That's 4, 7, and 5. So the volume here is 574 inches cubed. Okay. For this next one. All right, it's not so bad. Says find the volume for the rectangular prism. So we'll do 6 times 8, which is 48. That's not a big deal. And then they want us to multiply by 1/3. Okay, so remember that a whole number by itself is really always standing over 1. So we'll multiply this and we'll multiply straight across. You now have 48 over 3. And then you're going to divide 48 by 3. So here you can see that 3 fits into 4 once, right? That's going to give you 3. That's a 1. Bring down the 8. 3 fits inside of 18 6 times. So the volume here is going to be 16. There's no unit of measurement, so I'm just going to say units cubed. Okay. Here we go. Dante is mailing a box with a length of 9.5 inches, a width of 9 inches. If the volume of the box is 456 inches, then what is the height? Okay, cool. That's fine. Not a big deal. Volume, right? We said was 456 is going to be equal to our length, which is 9. I'm going to turn this into a decimal 0.5. Length times our width, which is 8, times our height. Okay, so now we just need to do this, and then let's see what we get. 95 times 8, 40, put the 0 down, carry the 4, 72 plus 4 is 76. Swing the decimal back over, right? Cool. So now what we should have is 456 is equal to 76h, which again, you should be able to recognize as a one-step equation. When we have those one-step equations, we just solve for the variable. In order to solve for the variable, you isolate the x. Okay, so if we were to do 456 divided by 76, it does fit evenly 6 times, okay? So our height in this particular case, our height was equal to 6 inches. All right. Hopefully this helps y'all.